Hello, everyone. This is Jack Bosch speaking, and welcome to another episode of the Forever Cash Life Real Estate Podcast. We're going to talk about putting creative deals together, right? Creating creative solutions out of deals that perhaps otherwise might not happen. And our guest is an experienced land flipper.
Welcome to the Forever Cash Life Real Estate Investing Podcast with your hosts, Jack and Michelle Bosch. Together, let's uncover the secrets to building true wealth through real estate and living a purpose-driven life.
All right, so here we are. So I already told you our guest is an experienced land flipper, and I'm super excited to introduce to you Jantzen Young. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Jantzen. So great. So Jantzen, you are a land flipper. You are a coach in our organization also. You and your husband Steve have your parents. You have a dog puppy, a 50-pound puppy. Right?
Yes.
You have. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your path, about yourself, your path, where you are. Just who is Jantzen?
Sure. Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I was watching the interview with my husband just to make sure I don't repeat a lot of this stuff, and you are in luck.
Yes.
I can go for hours. We're good.
Good. Yes.
You can cut me off.
A few weeks ago, just like 3-4 weeks ago, I don't know, a few weeks ago, we interviewed Steve and your husband, who is also obviously a full-time land flipper and a coach in our organization. So yes, so now the better half of the Youngs is here on the show.
That's right. So he's really more our analytics guy, our number cruncher. I'm more on the creative side, and I absolutely love it. So a little bit about me. I'm born here in Florida, and I've been here for some odd years. we won't go quite into those
24,
details.
Right? 24.
Huh? Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, 24 or so. I went to school here in University of Tampa, and that's where I met my husband. He was a basketball player and I was a cheerleader, and I'm like, I am not dating any of those athletes because they are so egotistical and crazy. And then I met my husband, who just swept me off my feet. So here we are.
Right.
So both of us started our careers in financial services. He was working for a firm in Tampa. I was working for a firm in the Orlando area. And if you're from up north or the West Coast, this might seem like Florida, 2 cities, you're fine. Florida is massive. So when we got married, we lived in the middle, and both of us had over an hour commute to get to work and come back every night.
Oh, wow.
Which we did for 5 years. You do what you have to do. We had really, really good jobs right out of college, and especially my career path was going great. But what was surprising to me is that we were still broke. I remember when we got married, I told my husband, I was like, the day that I make $100,000, we are going to be balling. We're going to buy a mansion. I'm going to get the car of my dreams. And you're smiling because I think, 100K will come and just go.
Right.
I don't know where that number came from, but it was not the number we needed or were looking for. And so we were kind of asking ourselves, like, why are we in this situation? We had good education, we had good jobs, we had the number that I thought we needed, and we were still, maybe not paycheck to paycheck, but if anything were to happen, you're just a couple weeks away from real trouble.
Yeah, I know exactly how it feels. I went through the same thing. We got promoted 3 times in 5 years and started making good money and everything. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, it's like, why do I only have like $500 left to buy groceries and so on? So because your expenses go up when you move out of that little everything goes up, and that's the trap everyone falls into. Yes.
That creep, exactly. And it's funny that you mentioned like the $500 in the bank. I think we were at another event maybe a couple years ago, and you were talking about having that level of comfort. Like, as long as I've got 500, I know I'm okay. I was the girl that was like, as long as I have $20, we're good. So I'm used to living on the edge, and my super frugal husband was like, yeah, we can't. We have to have separate bank accounts because I was driving him crazy. So, we were progressing in our careers. We weren't exactly getting like my bank account wasn't reflecting what I thought should have been happening. And so we both went back and got our MBAs, which of course is supposed to solve the problem, right? Get into more debt so you can take some money to make money or whatever. And it just didn't. You know, my career still went pretty well, but it just wasn't doing that for my husband. And the grind just kind of got to both of us. And once I got pregnant with my first child, I was like, look, something's got to give. So we decided one of us had to get a job closer to the other person because I didn't want to have a baby on the highway.
Right.
So he ended up getting a job closer to me. So both of us moved closer to the Orlando area. We were within 6 minutes of our jobs, both of us, which is a great boost to our quality of life.
Right.
But even after that, you still get stuck in a loop, right? It's a prettier loop in a nicer neighborhood, but you're still in that cycle. And that's when we found real estate and were elated to realize there is a way out. There is another way to do this.
Yeah, even people think like, oh no, I just need to get that $100,000 job and I'll be fine. But no, it's just a bigger hamster wheel that just keeps going. So what you really need is something that, well, what is your realization what you needed? Real estate what was the appeal of real estate in that moment?
I like the idea of making money without having to work for it. But before I got to that concept, real estate was kind of the end of that. Exactly. But before I got to that concept, I think Stephen talked about Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And for the first time, budgeting made sense for me. I mean, my thought was, I've always been a huge investor. I always max out my 401k. I loved the stock market. I'm in financial services. Like, of course, this is where I should also be investing. But I liked the idea that I could control my finances myself. So either I can control that on the budgeting end and making my life more efficient. And for us, that meant getting rid of a lot of stuff that we didn't really need. Not only going out to eat, I actually love going out to eat. So that's something I'm not willing to give up on. But there were other things that we were doing, like buying ridiculous amounts of clothes. And then you think about the 80-20 rule, I'm really only wearing 20% of my closet anyway. So what's with all this ridiculous space? So we gave a lot of stuff away. There was a huge purging process. And then we started looking at our finances the same way. So if I say that I love education and I love feeding my brain, when I look at my bank account, Barnes & Noble and Amazon should be like everywhere. And it wasn't, right? There was a lot of Wendy's and McDonald's. And that's not really the kind of person in life that I wanted to live. So for us, it was about being more efficient, making our bank statements align with what we say that our actual goals are. And that was a huge shift for us. So that was on the managing our outgoing side. And then managing the incoming side, again, Rich Dad, Poor Dad just opened up our eyes to the possibility of rentals and passive income and financial independence and all of these different concepts.
Great. And then what did you do? What came next? So I mean, Steve talked about it a few weeks ago already, but I understand you guys joined the RIA, right?
Yeah, that was, we joined YouTube University.
Okay.
So we started learning everything that we possibly could on YouTube. And YouTube is dangerous because it makes you think that you're an expert when you have like this much knowledge.
Right.
So I went out there and I'm sucking up every video that I can. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna rock the world with sandwich lease options. That's what I'm gonna do. And I was driving for dollars, looking for houses that way. And I heard on YouTube, okay, you find good deals on Craigslist. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go check out Craigslist. I'm like, baby, there's a fourplex in our own neighborhood, like in our own city. We should totally buy it. And I remember my husband being like, how do you know how to buy a fourplex? I'm like, well, I don't know, but the person on the other end of the phone, I'm sure they do. So that was our first step. I'm definitely like you, just jump and build a parachute on the way down. And fortunately, the person that was that had listed the ad on Craigslist was a wholesaler, very deep into the real estate investment community in Orlando. And he could tell, like, you greenies are going to be in serious trouble. You need some support. And we're so grateful to that relationship. That one deal, we were, again, learning from YouTube University. We had our own financing kind of in place with a hard money lender. And when that fell through, 3 days before closing, mind you, he gave up. I called him with my tail between my legs, and I'm like, we're not investors, we're frauds, I'm so sorry, we screwed up. And he had every right to say, yeah, well, I'm going to take your deposit, and you're going to lose this, and you're going to be blacklisted in this community. And instead, he was like, Jantzen, calm down. How can I help you? And that piece right there has stayed with me throughout this entire real estate process. And it's also why Steven and I are so passionate about giving back to this real estate community, because it's not the moguls and the sharks that you see in Shark Tank. It's not like that at all. It really is a community of people who are on a path to improving themselves, their families, their communities, and are passionate about giving that back. And I love who that is.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, well, of course, there's some of the sharks out there too, but it's beautiful that you came across that one, and there's many like that. So that deal did not go through then, right?
Actually, so 3 days before closing, we lost our funding after a 10-minute phone call of him talking us off this cliff. He called the title company. In 30 minutes, the title company called me back. They're like, oh, no problem. We found this private money lender. He just, got out of one deal. He's looking to put his money somewhere else. You're funded. Never met the guy. No idea who he was from a can of paint, but he funded our first deal. Awesome. And at 12.9%, it better have been good. So we we treated him very well.
Do you still own this deal, or was that a wholesale deal?
Yeah, no, we still own it to this day. Awesome. And we were able to, after the improvements, we were able to refinance out of that and took the money right out of that and put it into a commercial building that we also own now. So.
No, wonderful. So you're playing the cash flow game, but then where does land come into that?
Well, it's I really am passionate about passive income, and rentals was initially my way to get there. That's still a really important piece for me, but it is capital intensive. Apartments cost money. And after a while, we did use a loan from our 401k to get started in that game. But after a while, you want to be done with those payments and just move on with your life. So we needed more cash. And we were at a local real estate investment meeting, and that's when you were invited to come to speak in Orlando, and everything made sense. I mean, there were 3 key reasons why we said yes to you. And let me be clear, we get national speakers every month who all have amazing products. Land is just one tiny piece of the real estate world, but 3 reasons why we
100%.
Came to you. 1, we were both working full time. We were very busy in the middle of a rehab, and we needed something that we could do remotely when our kids are sleeping. One of our biggest whys was retirement, because we have this time with our 2 little kids, 3 and 5, and we weren't spending time with them at all. I'm like, why the heck did I even become a mom? If I just wanted to pour my money into something, there's many other ways I could have done this.
Right.
So I needed something that I could do remotely. I needed something that would provide passive income, and that was by far the most important piece. And when you talked about being able to sell the land with a mortgage, I never thought of being a note owner or a note holder, a note buyer. And we actually had someone come to the REIA and talk about that before you showed up. I was like, that's for rich people. I don't have 2 pennies right now.
So how do you create a note if you don't already that's the other point. How do we buy it when there's note buyers? When I talk to them, it's like, yeah, you can buy notes and you get 15% on your money. It's like, yeah, but the first requirement is you have to have money to get 15% on. Right. So when we started, we had nothing, right? And now, of course, even if you have money, now we're attracting the note buyers because they're realizing that when they work with us, they can actually build their own notes that have 100% returns per year. 120% returns a year. I mean, we have done deals that had over 10 years, something like a 1,200% return. Ooh. And they're looking
salivating, right?
And they're like, well, what is that? Is that even, how does that work? And then, anyway, so, but yeah, so that's that's the thing. Like in order to buy notes, you can flip notes and you can make money with that, but usually you have to have money. Yes. So go ahead.
No, absolutely. So so we needed something we could do remotely. We needed something that provided passive income, and there was something else that just blew me away when you were talking about it. Oh, just the idea that we didn't have to worry about the tenants anymore. We were still relatively new when we heard you speak. So although we decided from the beginning, we didn't want another job. We wanted someone else, like passive income. So we always had property managers from day one. But there's still things that break, and it still touches your bank account. You still have to worry, like, why did this one unit not pay? So I liked the fact that it checked out those boxes.
I authorized $1,700 repair today.
And fun!
$4,500 last week, and on all the on that's on single family rentals we have. Let alone the apartment complexes. There's much bigger stuff going on, but
fun.
I know what you feel. Yes, exactly. So no tenants. No tenants, cash flow, and you can do something while your kids are asleep. Which is, by the way, my brother finally in Germany started now flipping land, and with his wife, and they have a 2-year-old baby, right? And it's exactly awesome. So now she's working and he's working, and they're like, this is their path to have, or at the very least, her come home, because he just started the different new company, so he's like on that working, but they were still working at nights on this business, just a couple of hours here and there, in order to get her free from her job, because she's like working part-time, which really means they give her the full workload in half of the time, and paying her half, and plus the baby, just like the same thing. So we're pretty confident that within a few months we have them at the point where she can throw in the towel or give in their resignation and be just mom. And then when my nephew is when he is in pre-kinder or kindergarten and things like that, or in daycare, she does the land work, right? It's perfect. So, but I totally see where you're coming from, and that makes total sense. So you come see us, saw us speak, you got involved, and now let's fast forward. What happened since? You guys came into our coaching program. You guys did, how many deals did you do last year?
Last year, 28, I think.
All right.
28.
Did something like a lot of people say, well, if I do 28 this year, I'm going to do 56 this year, next year. You guys had a shift in that, right? That instead of going for more volume, you go for what?
We're going for profit.
Okay, very good.
So there's a really good book. It's Profit First. I forget the gentleman's name. I think it's
Mike Michalowicz.
Thank you, Mike Michalowicz.
Listen to this podcast, if you go back all the way, a bunch of episodes, Michelle and I actually interviewed him in one of our first probably 30, 40 podcast episodes that we did. So you just search in our podcast for Mike Michalowicz, and we interviewed him right there.
I absolutely will. I really like his perspective that a lot of companies that I talk to, we are a part of a lot of entrepreneurial organizations, and we listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff. So there is this idea you need to think bigger. Bigger is better. And I'm not opposed to the idea of stretching yourself to achieve the best that you can. But being the best that you can be doesn't necessarily mean making the most money in the room. Like, what does that even mean, right? So the person that has the most deals has the most headaches, really. That's that many more closings, that many more buyers to negotiate with, that many more sellers to get through, versus doing a lot less of those deals. And so you're only really working a big deal a few times a year, and you're walking away with the same, or in our case, much more money than you did when you were doing all the little ones.
Right. So what is the biggest thing that you're working on right now, for example?
So right now, it's not closed yet. So right now we have a deal in Flagler County in Florida on the East Coast. And that one should net us about $65,000. I'm still in negotiations with the buyer side. So if it works out with owner financing, it'll be much more than that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but that it'll be 110,000 or so, yeah.
Again, salivating over this. So, and honestly, we're even debating like whether we take it, whether we take the cash or do the owner financing. It just depends.
Right. Well, 65 grand, that's the point. Exactly. So
Yeah.
you do 5 65 grand deals a year, you have over $300,000 in income.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it's like, and then it goes back to that whole idea of what were our expenses to begin with, managing the outside part of the house. And I'm not saying, I do not advocate for people living like in a tent, eating peanut butter jelly sandwiches every day. Trust me, that's not how I live. But if you're able to manage that space, or certainly credit card debt and like student loans, other things that you can get off your plate, especially if you have good income anyway. Just be more thoughtful about it.
Right. Wonderful. Great. No, I love that. That's beautiful. $65,000 deals in the pipeline right now. And the focus is not bigger is better, but better is better.
That's right.
So I'm 100% with you. That's why we, for example, we use the money we make with our land flips and so on. We put that into single families. Mm-hmm. But now these are still, we got almost 50 single families. They give us more headache than the 3 apartment complexes we have that add up to almost 300 units, over 300 units, right? So 300 units give much less headache because you have a completely different management team in place than on the other ones. So it's always like, what is better? Better is bigger, better, or better. Now better is better, right? So it makes it the same thing on the deal structure here. So we use and I love that. Can you correct me if I'm wrong, but basically what you're doing right now, you're not opposed to buying more rental units, right?
Oh, no.
Exactly. So you're using the land business as your cash machine in order to buy more of these things that bring in cash flow for like ever, right?
Exactly. And that's why we're on the fence about the notes, right? I loved that in the beginning just to like buy me time, right? But the notes run out. And you talk about this in your book. There's the forever cash. That's the apartment that never ends. There's that temporary cash, which is a great vehicle. And I tell this to my students and even people that I meet that will, can stand me talking real estate for hours on end. Those notes is a great vehicle in your transition phase. Like when you're, trying to get out of the rat race, just get that passive income up any way that you possibly can. And then if you've got a 10-year note and you've piled on a bunch of 10 and 5 and 15-year notes, well, shoot, if you haven't figured something out in 10 years, you've got bigger problems. But at least, you've got 10 years to get things going. And then, after you've got other things moving, you can manage your day-to-day without notes.
Yeah, so literally you have 10 years to get something going. You work on this a little bit, you build up like say $5,000 or $10,000 in notes, and then you take off. You take off a month or 2 or 3, just chill, recover.
Years.
Like recharge from all those years of working for wherever you worked, right? And now you have another 7 years left to figure out what to do with the rest of your life. Because at that point of time, the notes are going to start coming down and you either have to get a new job, or you use that time to put the pedal to the metal and do more and more and more deals and more in cash and cash flow. And you use that then, so you start here and then you build it up there, and you use that then to funnel it over into other investments. And that's exactly what we call the wealth wheel. That's exactly the path that the wealthy get wealthier, right? If you look at it, Warren Buffett, I just saw a statistic the other day. At age 50, he was at age 30, he was worth like nothing. At age 40, he was worth like a few million dollars, right? $2-3 million or so. I mean, it's a lot of money, but worth 69 billion now. It's like nothing. At age 50, he was worth like $64 million or so. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot more money. But the point is that once you get rid of the concept of a job, once you get rid of the concept of this scarcity in your life, and you can now have all day long to do what you love and to do what you enjoy, in this case land flipping, then your results are going to reflect a much larger result. Results are going to grow, and then you can start compounding these effects massively, which is what you guys are doing right now. Have you bought any more? Have you bought any more rental properties?
So funny that you mentioned that. we have now gotten to the space that it took me a while to get there. I don't have to do it all on my own.
Right.
I wasn't prepared to let go of this, but I am ready now. So actually, another one of the coaches, Christina Walls, we've been friends for a long time. And she's always been she does mobile homes, that's her deal. But she's been talking about a mobile home park forever. And I was like, okay, yeah, if something happens, let me know. And lo and behold, she got one under contract, and she IM'd me. She's like, girl, I need some money for this thing. Like, who's going to be an equity partner? And then just then my husband had turned around. He's like, when am I going to move over my 401k? Like, I got to do something with that thing. And I was like, I got your money. So now I'm super excited that we're finally going to be able to invest in a mobile home park with a really good friend of mine. The numbers look phenomenal on this deal. Great cash flow. So yeah, that is our next big purchase.
Awesome.
And the first one where we don't have to do any work.
Right. And Steve quit his job. Right?
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah, already a while ago. You are not yet, right?
No.
But how far are you away from that?
So I was supposed to quit in December.
Okay.
And I'm actually financially in a position to do that. We've been working on a project, I promise you, no less than 5 years. I've been begging for this particular project to happen. And we finally got funding for it in January. So when they were telling me rumors and Thanksgiving and Christmas, it's coming. I'm like, okay, well, I'm leaving. Then they kind of put that carrot in front of me. So I want this to be my little legacy. I've been with the firm for 13 years, and I'm in a bit of a position, and it is a second family to me. But once this project is put to bed, my manager is aware, my director is aware. I do have one foot out the door, and they're very supportive of my next phase. In fact, one of them is a private money lender for me. So.
All right. Well, even better. See, there we go. You use your network. People are like,
I
don't know where to get the money from. Well,
it's everywhere.
Open your mouth, talk to people. There, all of a sudden, there's money that people can invest. Having said that, in many deals, do you buy those deals yourself, or you actually just do double closings and things like that?
So it depends. If it's an area that I've been in for a while and I know I've got a strong buyer pool there, and just to be clear, in the market that we were working in before, it was very residential, so a lot of developments. So I had great relationships with builders. So I could literally text one of 6 people, and between those text messages, someone was going to take the property. In an instance like that, I will more than likely just buy it because I know there's very low risk for me. If I'm in a new area, I do my very best not to do it unless the numbers are absolutely solid. And I even go a step further and confirm with a few realtors in the area as well. So I just want to make sure. Right. I just hesitate to say that with other students or less experienced flippers here. And they're like, oh, I've got the money, I'll just buy it. Look, the double closings, wholesalings, these are great tools to help you mitigate your risk. So unless you really are comfortable with what you're buying, I don't recommend doing that, especially in the beginning.
Yeah, that's just true everywhere. And in the house area, you can't really rehab a house without owning it. But we're not rehabbing anything, right? We're not even touching it. We're not even seeing it, for that matter. So it's cool. Like, it's great to have that nuanced approach to it. So when you get started, though, now actually let's talk about the other way. Like let's start that way. When you got started, though, did you buy anything out of the get-go? Usually, probably not, right?
No. We 100% followed the method. We our very first deal, we wholesaled it to a wholesaler. Go figure.
Means you sold it too cheap, but that's a different thing.
That's okay. Hey, we were happy. 13 grand, I'll take it. I was happy. The subsequent deals were double closes. We've only purchased, Stephen talked about the one in Orlando, that 40, that was our biggest closed deal to date. Yeah. So we have purchased about 6 other deals from last year. Yeah, we did.
Okay, cool. So now you fast forward to right now. You're now a coach for the Land Profit Generator family. And how has that experience been, being able to give back and be able to see the success of your students?
It is phenomenal. So you get naturally very, very excited when you do a deal, especially when you're early and you're doing your first few deals. I didn't expect to have that much excitement when my first student got her deal. I'm telling you, when that email came through, we were both celebrating. That call was so loud. But it's nice to see. I mean, I know the system works for me, and I talk about it all the time. People are sick of me talking about it. That's okay. I'm winning them slowly, one at a time. But it's really great to see when my students are able to, when the light bulb goes off and they're finally able to cross that hurdle and get that deal done, because it's not about the deal, right? It's about changing lives, changing families, changing generations.
Right.
And that's really, really exciting, especially because my students, much like the whole community here in land flipping, and I would even say in the real estate community, is so very diverse, and all of the different backgrounds. You kind of come into this world with your own hangups, and you look around and you're like, this is a great equalizer. Like financial independence, like owning your wallet, taking control of your household is a great equalizer. And especially right now with all this unrest with racial relations, I'm really happy to see the conversation of Black wealth, of local wealth, family wealth, being brought to the table, and real estate has to be a part of that conversation.
Yeah, it has. Particularly in the land flipping area where you don't meet the sellers, you don't meet the buyers, you don't meet anyone. I've never had anyone tell me, no, I don't want to sell to you because you have a German accent, right? I have nobody sell to Michelle like, no, I won't sell to you because you're Hispanic, right?
Exactly.
It's like, as a matter of fact, when we put her name on the letter, more people respond to me. So it's like, it's a true equalizer on all ends. It's like, if you can select some counties, pick some lists, get some letters out, follow the system, make some offers, put them out for market. You can make money no matter where you're from, what your background is, and it's a true equalizer, which is really beautiful. Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah,
and there's you said something that was just the going through the steps of the land flipping, and something else I just want to make sure that the audience is aware of. This, if you're on the fence about whether or not this is for you, or if you've been doing it for a while and you're kind of wondering like, what the heck, like I think I was doing everything right. We were really attracted to land flipping because it's simple. And that has stayed true throughout. Sure, every deal has its nuances and we get an opportunity to be a little creative in each one, but it's a pretty simple approach to real estate. Simple is not the same as easy.
That's right.
There are still going to be little hurdles along the way. And one of the biggest things that I like to talk my students through is that little hurdle that you think is a big mountain is just a conversation away to turning into a pebble, right? It's just you have to know who to talk to. If you're going to talk to your friends who have no idea about real estate and have no idea about land, of course it's going to stay a mountain. But don't be afraid to come into the community, join the Facebook group, hop on these podcasts, and you'll see they're just pebbles. They look like mountains to you because you haven't crossed it yet.
And then also, you guys, that's a great point with like simple and easy, because you guys did a couple of deals first on your own, right? After getting our more basic programs. And then you got, which are still complete programs. And then you joined the coaching program a bit afterwards, right? Because the simplicity let you do deals, but then the scaling still requires some focus and some hand holding and some system setup and things like that. And then you went from how many deals per year on your own to how many deals to like the 20 something deals, 28 was it?
So we started 14 months into the program doing it on our own, and we did 5 deals, and which was not bad. That was a phenomenal supplement to our income. But we weren't looking for a supplement. We were really looking for a replacement. And for that, we knew we needed help to get to that next level. Because there's Rich Strauss, another one of the coaches. He has this, he was actually our coach in the beginning, but he has this saying, it's like, it's not really, you don't know if you're committed to something until you get to the point where it stops being fun. When it's like 11 o'clock at night and you have to follow up with the title because like something is held up with a death certificate, like got to call the seller again. Like it's not fun at 11 o'clock and you're tired, you've been working all day. But we needed somebody to remind us what we were doing this for and why it was so important that we keep that, energy going.
And it's a transformation you can really go through, right? It's like a personal transformation to a degree that somebody holds you to that standard and brings you through, and all of a sudden it becomes your standard after a while.
That's right.
Like now it's not a question. Yeah, 11 o'clock, sure, let's go. Call. What's the problem?
What you got to do.
And exactly. So beautiful, wonderful. Well, great. So what do you say to somebody who is kind of sitting on the fence and thinking about, is that something I should be looking into?
Oh, I don't know why you're sitting on the fence. So I'm confused. Just do it.
All right, short and sweet. Great. Now, so you said you're accomplished professional in financial industry. You probably are also readers, right?
Absolutely.
What books are you reading right now?
So I gave it away earlier. I'm in the middle of Profit First right now. Right. Before that, I was going through the E-Myth, which I think is a really great book just to help, especially if you have a partnership. It's really important for us with my husband, making sure that it's clear what his job is and what my job is. And if you're working this business as a partnership, it's totally okay to have one CEO. It's totally okay to have one acquisitions person. It just builds accountability, and trust me, it is better for your marriage to do that than to say, oh, we'll just do everything, because then passive aggression comes in. I'm telling you, you don't want to go there. Get an org chart.
I know that. Yes. Michelle and I have been working together for 18 years. She's the co-founder of that. Almost all of the business processes that we created, actually, she created to 90%, and I just added some things to it based on our Colby, based on how we operate. That's her natural gift more than me. And then we luckily naturally fell within the role where she's done the more things she did the beginning part, the purchasing part of the thing, and acquisition of the property, and I did the disposition. And then every time we have like a head-on thing, is always when we both try to do the same thing. And then it becomes a fight of the egos. It becomes a fight of like, no, I want to do it this way versus that way. And so I 100% stand behind what you say. It's like, you got to have your roles, and there's not one role that's more important than the other one. No. There's no titles. It's just in order to get it done, we have one party being in charge of something and therefore accountable for it, and you have the other party being charged for something else. And it is better for the marriage. Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
it is. So great. So with that said, thank you very much, Jantzen. That was absolutely wonderful to have you on here. Love your energy, love your spirit, love your story. So excited you guys are on this path. I'm glad I was able to come to Orlando and tell you guys about this. And I'm glad you guys were willing to listen, because there was another 150 people in the room, of which 80% or so didn't listen to that. Yeah. And many of them are now coming just like, well, I see so many people of my REIA being successful with this. What is this? And so on. And but you're
actually causing a little bit of a problem. So in our REIAs, not right now because we're all virtual, but every month at the beginning of the meeting, everyone is invited to come up to the front and announce their deal to the whole room. Well, the last REIA that we had, half of the deals were for land, and the president was just like, what is going on? So you're causing problems, Jack. We need to pare this back.
All right, that's fine. Hey, I come out there when they invite me. That's only one of the 2 or 3 REIAs in the country that I actually go to. So because I'm a family guy, I don't need to go travel. So I just love to spending my time with my daughter and my wife and with the family, and just jumping in the pool. And usually these things are like, then include a Saturday session, and I don't want to be all gone all Saturday. And then the only times I usually do it when we go to Orlando, or when in Orlando, when you guys and the REIA there invites me, is if it's school is out, and I can take the family with me, and we spend an entire week out there. We go to all the parks and all the things, and then I just spend Saturday for 2/3 of the day teaching a class, and then we'll go back for dinner, and then we fly back home the next day. And that's how I sometimes then do it.
I'm so glad that our sunshine can lure you in. So that's great.
Yeah, because in Arizona, we don't have enough. So, all right, wonderful. But you guys have beautiful parks and thing, and it's just beautiful out there. So with that said, thank you very much, Jantzen. I loved it. And for everyone listening, go check out our website. Go check out landprofitgenerator.com. Also, check out our Facebook group, Land Profit Generator Real Estate Investing. Go and give us 5-star reviews and watch it. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Put your comments below. And I love that. And we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoyed this episode? Then make sure you like, subscribe, and post your comments and questions below the video. We're looking forward to hearing from you.